last year just paid out $30K for his car. How much did he put into it? Did he put $30K into it? I feel like he didn't put $30K into it. Maybe he did. Anyway, didn't he get donated $10,000 for it? So essentially he's going to upgrade his car from insurance payout? There you go. I wouldn't advertise that. How about bicycle touring? I would love to do bicycle touring. And yeah, actually that can be just as cheap because you have your free transportation, and if you're free camping while you're bicycling, then that's free accommodation, and then it's just food, and so then it's entertainment. So yeah, that would be very similar. To Route 66 hitch, I just did. Well, I did part of Route 66 on my way from St. John's, Newfoundland to San Diego, California for TwitchCon, California. Whole data plan part seems like the most expensive thing to update. Yeah, it is. By far. Just in general, I spend more now that I stream than before. Like, I just... to mentally, like, streaming, you're just kind of like... you have to be on all day. And I think I'm maybe a bit more low-key than a lot of people you watch on streaming, because I'm not naturally like a super bubbly, crazy personality. I don't really try to be something I'm not. There's nothing wrong with that. You're like, this is the entertainment industry. It makes sense to try and be entertaining. But I stream my whole day. I don't try to be anything I'm not really. But in order to just tolerate like the having to be on all day, having a good meal, like staying actually well fed, makes a big difference. So I spend more on food, and then I do like drinking. It's a nice way to wind down at the end of the day. So I spend a lot more on food and drinks than I ever did traveling before. Also, I haven't dumpster dived since I've been streaming, and that used to be a thing I participated in. What do you see yourself in about 10 years still traveling? Still traveling part-time. I would like to set some roots down at some point, and within 10 years would be a point where I'd like to have a little bit of roots. Well, let's see. Oh yeah, I was gonna look at the dumpster diving rules in New Zealand. Maybe we could do that. Let's see. Dumpster. I just have to make sure it's legal. It's legal in a lot of places. It's illegal in some places. I don't understand it being illegal. If you throw something in the trash, that's kind of essentially saying that I don't want it anymore. You are a handsome man. Thank you, Fuzz Nuggets. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. A few people dumpster dive here, and you're not going to really get in trouble for dumpster diving. The most you get is told off. But for me, as broadcasting it on Twitch TV, everything I do has to be above board. Everything I do has to essentially be legal. So I'm not going to dumpster dive somewhere unless it's actually allowed. Well, allowed to be not made illegal, so they have no law about it. Building good savings from streaming Ace? Not really. I'm not like about to go broke, but
But you want to be a page, and so you can have a page. You can something else. I usually wouldn't eat lunch, so I'd go hamburger. What do you want? Like, I'm not. But I still wouldn't buy garlic truffles or sausages.
And the way Twitch US is, you can get in trouble just for being told off for dumpster diving, even if it wasn't illegal. It's like public nuisance or some shit. I don't think so. If it's not illegal, then there should be nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it sounds like a bag.
People could say the same thing about hitchhiking. You're a public nuisance, aren't you? A lot of people see hitchhikers and they're like, you're the scourge of society. You're the people we don't want around. That's a public nuisance. That should be TOS breaking, right? Here I am with a partnered stream that's been going for a year and a half. All about hitchhiking. Sorry, I'm just reading something about dumpster diving here.
I love cruises, I love seeing them, I love giving them, I love seeing the sun on things inside of me. I love it. I used to really love working for presents. I still like working for presents.
Some people probably think Twitch streamers are the scourge of society. Probably. And that's okay. People are entitled to their opinions.
But I love it I usually have baubles. I don't do it myself. I'll do the beads. Lights? Yes. No.
Reading an article about dumpster diving here. Where we're at right now, we are in Christchurch, a 20-minute walk outside the city centre.
I thought it was funny. Right now I have a school. Yeah, there was.
I miss your dinner. I had a really big lunch. I'm actually not particularly hungry at the moment. I had a whole pizza, a large pizza, and then a muffin after that.
I'm nowhere near as
What do you know as a streamer? I got it.
I used to farm at one the day talk about Christmas trees,
So, whether or not dumpster diving is a crime is a bit of a grey area. New Zealand laws don't specifically cover dumpster diving, however it can be classed as theft, as it's understood that rubbish is still the property of the disposer until an operator has collected it. Interesting.
I took quite off last year by day and he like farmed and see this whole hot, full of ham and lamb and potatoes and chicken nibbles and we didn't even get through it. We got through all the lamb and chicken nibbles, most potatoes, some of the ham. Oh, I love the ham. Got all the lamb sandwich with some liver chutney. I like it all. Not a gravy fan though, myself. Not a gravy fan.
Well, we're not going to be dumpster diving here in New Zealand. I would like to. I think places in the US, there might be local ordinances in some places, but I think it should be okay. In Canada, I think it's alright. So some claim it's a liability issue, but they also lose money from it. What money would they lose? Out of curiosity? I'm just trying to figure out where would the money go once you throw something out and someone just takes something from your garbage. You find another guy who dumpster dives. Like, you're not going to get really in trouble for it because it really isn't that big of a deal. But if it might be considered as theft, and I broadcast myself doing something that in this country could be construed as theft. It's not the smartest thing to do. Random I wear a merino wool shirt to work. It's really good for sweating. Reminded me of when I bought it. Or reminded me of you when I bought it. Icebreaker merino. Like, there's so many like minor things that people will do fairly frequently that might be minorly illegal, but no one really cares because it doesn't really matter. But now, as soon as you start broadcasting it, now it's an actual thing. It's an actual problem. This is actually really nice. I like this ginger beer.
I don't actually have any other breakfast. It was just the only one. Leave a chocolate. I've got a white tray at the moment with light blue and silver decorations, which I'm not up here.
Sending nudes over the internet is illegal? Is it?
I have seen some last week.
Since when? What law does that fall under?
I don't know.
Because in their mind, the person taking it out of the trash could have just bought it. I worked at a grocery store for 6 years, and they love to go on about how dumpster divers were going to lose us money. Right. The person taking it out of the trash could have just bought it. I have a feeling the person that's about to dumpster dive for the food isn't going to go in and buy the same thing. They're opportunistic and they'll get something out of the bin because it's in the bin.
Oh my god. Rick and I have all the meat taken off. Yeah. So I'm going to a den cafe. Yeah. Oh, I'm not doing the races. We're just going to go with face masks and jackets.
But anyway, I don't think it should be illegal unless unless you have your bin in somewhere that is like a locked up place that's clearly a no trespassing area. Like if it's in the back of your store or something and it's a locked up place, then clearly if you break in there to go look through the bin, then you're trespassing on private property. But if you just put the bin out next to the street up for collection and someone looks in there, it's like, oh, there's some bread, I'm gonna eat it. I really don't see anything about that. That should be illegal. But I always did it for bread and pastries is what I'd look for. There met people that quite often would go for fruits and vegetables and stuff, and I was always scared. I felt very comfortable with the bread and pastries, because I don't know, you can look at it, you can kind of just tell. And they're usually bagged separately for the fruit and veggies and stuff, and everything else. And especially anything refrigerated, I was just like, it scared me. Aren't you meeting up with a local that wants to party with you this evening? Oh yeah, someone did say that. Oh well. Dumpster increases the prices for paying customers. I still don't see how that equals something. I don't know where that comes from. 5G technology going to help your streaming anyway? Probably not mine that much because I spend more time in rural areas than in cities. I think it could help in cities, especially cities that, you know, especially around busy times, might have network saturation. 5G is good for getting a lot of bandwidth out there, so it might help with like when everyone gets off work and a lot of times streams just start crashing around rush hour. because everyone just pulls out their phone and starts doing stuff on their phone, and it oversaturates the network. And I think 5G would help with that. But it's hyper localized right now, and it doesn't really help with anything rural. It's super localized, as in it will work on this block but not the next block, and it'll work outside but it won't work inside this building.